And joining us for this week's Political Roundtable are Delegate Adrian Jones, Democrat from Baltimore County and Speaker Pro Tem, and Delegate James King, a Republican from Anne Arundel County. Delegates, thanks to both of you for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
Where would you say the citizens should be pleased or displeased with the product of the legislature this year?
Well, in terms of the bills that were passed October 1st, I think they should be pleased that those who are environmental buffs in terms of what we have done in terms of greenhouse emissions, we'll be reducing those. We also have protections for people who were discriminated against, in which we extended a time period if they are, retaliated against. Those are the types of laws that you don't hear about. You hear in the media about the texting while driving and the speed camera laws, which they probably are not as happy about. But there is some good legislation that was passed that you don't hear about as often.
So the media plays up the controversial stuff, or is it the controversial stuff that maybe affects more people? I don't know.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
A little bit of both.
Delegate King?
Certainly, I was not a proponent of the speed camera laws. I voted against that, and I think it's more of a money grab for the state than anything else. More than it will reduce safety. One of my favorite bills that took effect yesterday was the Commission to Study Autism. May not have an immediate effect, but hopefully a long-term effect in the state of Maryland. It's a problem that's rising, and the number of cases that we're finding is astronomical here in Maryland and across the country. So hopefully we can get to the bottom of that issue and make some real progress.
Is there an uptick every year around the 1st of October when the majority of bills take effect in the number of calls or letters or emails that you get from constituents?
Well, because a lot of emphasis was made on the two bills I just mentioned about the speed camera, because they've been talking about it for the last several months, and some of the jurisdictions are implementing their own laws, so you get a double play in terms of that. Baltimore County recently, council had passed theirs. So I think that because of that, you'll get the calls and the emails as a result of that.
Yeah, I think this year has been especially kind of high volume with what's going on in the economy. I think the residents of Maryland are paying a lot more attention to what's going on in Annapolis these days, and rightly so. But I think all of our offices have been probably a little bit more busy with the current economic situation.
A lot of news on the economy today. District of Columbia laid off 200 teachers. Prince George's County laid off 50 county employees, and we saw the national unemployment number go up again. So we're going to be dealing with this economic problem in Maryland. Certainly doesn't seem to be coming to a rapid end. What's that going to mean when the next session starts?
Well, I'm co-chairing a committee looking at the state and county's fiscal relationship, and the committee's been meeting, met last month, and we'll meet next week. So we're going to be very cognizant of what impact the state action will have on the locals. At the same time, we have made some measures, and our committee, my committee appropriations, will be meeting in October, mid-October, in terms of tackling the 2010 budget.
Where do you start on that? Because the 2010 budget is even a bigger problem. We know that there's another short-term deficit problem of several $100 million, but the outlook for the next fiscal year, I think, is a $2 billion shortfall.
Yeah.
Where do you start?
Well, we look at each and everything, line by line. The actions that the Board of Public Works dealt with helped some, but we got to look at long-term, long range, look at mandates. Everything's on the table in terms of what we would be looking at.
Delegate King, where would you start?
Well, I think we need to get the knife out and start making some serious cuts. You heard Prince George's County make some tough decisions there. The federal government, I think the government's lagging behind the private sector. This has been happening for the last year in the private sector with layoffs and the unemployment rate going up. And government's kind of catching up to that now and having to make these tough decisions that a lot of the private sector has been making for years. The unemployment rate is certainly an issue and something that Maryland's facing. I think 25 states are having a problem with their uninsurance fund right now. I think to the average citizen, people look at unemployment as kind of a entitlement program. It's really not. It's paid for by business owners. There's no state money that goes into that. We're seeing right now that Maryland's going to have to go down where it's Schedule, I think, B right now. We're going to go to Schedule F on January 1st, which is kind of a doomsday scenario.
Well, what's that mean?
Well, the unemployment insurance fund started about $900 million about 2 years ago. We're down to about $340 million now. The schedule that we pay in is rated on how many employees you have an experience rating, and how much you pay per employee per year. The average employer in Maryland right now with an average experience rating is paying about $47 per employee per year into the fund.
And the experience rating is based on how many layoffs or how many people you have sent to the unemployment office
Correct.
in the past.
Not only how many layoffs, but how many of those people actually went and filed for unemployment, which
Right.
gives you a rating. Dropping the schedule down to F right now means that we're going to go from that $47 to $181 per employee per year. That's a massive increase for an average employer with about 30 employees. You're looking at about a $5,000 increase per year. If you have a poor experience rating, which sometimes is not how you run your business, but maybe the type of industry you're in, it could go up to $1,100 per employee. So this is going to take effect January 1st, and I think we're scrambling to find ways. Obviously, you got to have money in the fund. You can't let it go bankrupt. But at the same time, that's a huge hit at a time where small businesses right now are feeling it. And so, we got to find some solutions to hopefully soften this blow. But it shows, what's going on. And like you said, the federal unemployment rate's 9.8% right now.
I also read that we're increasing the maximum monthly check for unemployment in Maryland, and certainly a lot of people need the money. But is it a wise move if the fund's running short?